Now we're going to look at the Char B-1 bis. It's a French tank. It's actually a pre-war design, and so early pre-war that really it shouldn't have been taken into any consideration in the Second World War. But it was actually regarded when the Second World War broke out as one of the most potent tanks of all time. And it's actually difficult these days to understand why. It's fitted with a Renault 6-cylinder 300 horsepower engine, and the steering system, which is regenerative, is very sophisticated because it literally has to move the tank around a tiny bit left and right in order to train the main gun, which is in the hull. The main gun has no lateral movement at all built into it, so it all has to be done by the tank itself. Now, the crew consists of a driver, who is also, funnily enough, the front hull gunner. He's got the elevating wheel by his right hand, and he can operate the trigger at the same time. He's there with a loader. There's a radio operator right in the back of the tank, hidden away out of sight. And up the top in the turret is the tank commander. Now, he has an unenviable job. As the tank commander, he's in a one-man turret, so there's no room for anyone else helping him, even if he wanted it. He's got to load and fire the gun, the 47mm gun, load, fire and clear stoppages on the machine gun, coaxially mounted with it, plus map reading, directing his driver, that sort of thing. So he's really got his work cut out. And that's just one man up in the turret, nobody else there at all. It's very First World War in its general appearance, with the high run of the tracks and so on, but it was quite an effective tank, 16mm of frontal armour. And the interesting thing from the gunnery point of view is the 75mm gun. It's actually a howitzer. It's low down in the front of the hull, and it was seen as the tank's main armament. The real drawback was that the tank couldn't adopt a proper hull down position to fire because it always needed to have that gun exposed. But it really is unusual and almost useless put down there. But there we are, mind, it's quite an impressive tank in many respects. This particular tank was actually captured by the Germans in fairly good condition and was used on Guernsey. It's actually got some added armour on the front, which the Germans put on. It mainly consists of concrete and covers the top of the front of the tank. And that's the only real German modification, although the wireless aerial, the jack and that sort of thing, they're all German on this tank. And that's how they were used during the Second World War in the Channel Islands. Most of them are knocked out, but a few survived and were used by the German Army of Occupation during the Second World War. Now, otherwise, the tank's mostly a bolted construction. The armour's quite thick, and it covers the suspension completely. It's got coil spring suspension, but it's all hidden under armour, so you can't see any of it. It just works like it did on a British tank during the pre-war period. It's got collective greasing points under these rectangular blocks on the side here, so that it makes it a bit easier. On a British tank, you had to go around greasing every wheel station. You didn't on this one. These clevises are mainly for lifting the tank, for jacking it up and that kind of thing. And generally, it's got a mixture of First World War and interwar appearance about it. It's quite a high tank, but with only a crew of 4, it's actually quite remarkably handy. But seeing these things operating with the gun firing, it's very difficult to imagine how they knocked out any German tanks at all. And with the 47mm gun in the turret, which has got 360-degree traverse, you've got great difficulty firing it in the right direction at the right time if you're diverted by other things as well. So it's quite a difficult tank to work in that sense, because there's so few people actually doing the directing of the tank. The wireless operator has no part in it. He's hidden away at the back. The loader, obviously not. He's got enough to do. And the driver's got more than enough to do at the front. So really a lot falls on the tank commander.